Hello, welcome to another edition of JavaScript Funct-on-ions. We have been working pretty hard on trying to dissect and understand how functions work in JavaScript. We've taken a look at, I think, a good amount of personalities, as I like to call them, for functions. Simply for the fact that the functions can act in so many different ways in JavaScript. And what I'd like to do today is take a look at the underground world of the new keyword for functions. And it's difficult to understand at times what it means to put the new keyword in front of a function. And so, you can read tutorials and you can test and find out from previous languages that you've worked with what the concept is of new. But we don't always understand what it is in JavaScript to uh, be able to use the new keyword, and when doing so, being able to realize what is happening underneath the hood in JavaScript for the JavaScript engine when the new keyword is introduced. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to work on a concept of a function that emulates, or more precisely, it, it's just JavaScript code. And from that JavaScript code, we're going to be able to transform it to where the new keyword can be introduced, and then find out what it does exactly to the code in order for the new keyword to be used. And we'll find out that there are there's an aspect of the new keyword, I guess you could say, that eliminates some code that we don't necessarily have to write ourselves, but the new keyword itself handles underneath of the hood. Let's go ahead and write out a function, and let's just have it act as a class. We're going to pass in a name. And what we're going to do here is that we're going to, on this, act as class. On a prototype, we're going to say hi. And simply what we're going to do is we're just going to say hi to this name. Now, let's go ahead and just kind of put some things together. Let me make sure that we have something here that resembles the ways that, so when we're working with the new keyword, we like to just have this idea where we capitalize the first character of the name of the function. And let's see what we can do here. Okay, so as you can see right now, so say hi is undefined. And so we have to kind of put together the actual the function here that is acting as our constructor. So in order to do this, we're going to have to do a little bit underneath of the hood, where we are going to we're going to have to return, yikes, we're going to have to return the result. Now, in order for this to actually work, is that this result has to create a new object that points to the prototype of the actual function itself, which implements it as a constructor function. And so when we're actually doing this, is that we're taking and creating a new object off of the prototype of act as class. And then what we do is we just add a method to the result and we return the result out. And so now when we have act as class and we add the say hi method on its prototype, is that we actually have a object that we are returning from the constructor function that is actually pointing to the prototype of act as class. And now you can see here is that instead of it saying undefined, we actually have now what comes out of say hi, which is returned a template string of hi and then this dot name. Now let's go to the point now to where we can actually go and put new in front of it. So now when we have new in front of it, is that we still have the same, but what it is that watch what we can do here. We can eliminate the actual creation of the object that points to the prototype, and we don't have to return from this function. All we have to do is just point this dot name to the name that is passed in. Did you see that? So pretty much what we've, well, not pretty much, well, all we've had to do in order for this new keyword to actually create a constructor function, which just passes in Rob as the name, is that the new keyword gives us this object that we've created based off of the prototype and the return. And so, and all we have to do is now we just have to point to this. And so now what happens is that when we say hi, when we point to this, we're pointing to whatever's in front of the, or behind, what do you say, in front of the dot, which is Rob. And Rob is a new act as class, passing in Rob. So what we're looking at here is that instead of us having to take control of how we are creating this constructor function, is that we're letting the new keyword itself handle this for us. So you know, and one thing to keep in mind is that if you're worried about somebody that's possibly going to forget that to add in the new keyword, is that you can just fall back to actually doing this, to where you're creating a new object based off of this prototype. And so because pretty much what we do is that we're let's see where would be a good place to put this. Let's see what happens when we console log the act as class prototype. I don't know if Quokka will give it to us right. So what we see here is that we actually, when we look at the prototype, is that it's pointing back to the class, the function name itself. It's going back to the function. It is not actually on the prototype of the function that is global. And we can check that here and see is that the constructor of this is that it's actually the function itself. So what we're doing here is that we're actually creating a new object that is going to be assigned to the result that is actually the act as class prototype, which again points back to the constructor, and that is the act as class. So here we have it again to where if we're going to use the new keyword, because if we do something here, let's try something else here. Okay, so we now have two instances of the act as class. But again, in the constructor function is that we're having to build out how this is going to work itself. Now, if we were to just act new up this constructor function, is that we're able to eliminate code that the new keyword handles itself. So the need to actually create this new object, new takes care of that. And then returning that object, new takes care of that. Because what's happening is that really is that it's going to change from result to this dot name, and then really what it's doing is that it is really just returning this. And now you can see we're getting the same thing. But you'll also notice too is that if we eliminate the return, is that that's another benefit of the new keyword, is that it does that for us. And so you'll still see that we're getting the output as expected. So what we're getting out of the new keyword, and I don't know if act as class is the best one, but we'll stay with that, is that we're actually putting the keyword new in front of the function, and then we're allowing the new keyword to handle the object creation and then the return of that object inside of the acting constructor function. And then we have it to where we're able to add to the prototype of that constructor function the method say hi. So then when we new up an instance of the act as class, and then we actually invoke that method say hi, is that we'll get out the expected result. So what you can see here is that this gives you an underlying view of how the new keyword works and how it can save us some writing, coding that we can just allow the new keyword to handle. So this is another personality of the function in JavaScript. And so this is particularly towards using the new keyword to create a new instance of the act as class. And what we do is we call that new up an act as class, and then that gets assigned to Rob. And now we have the say hi method on Rob because Rob is now this. So this is a small overview of new, and it's just another personality of the JavaScript function. And I hope you enjoyed, and you've been able to get a little bit out of this, and we will continue more in the next lessons on the different personalities of the function in JavaScript and how we can sugarcoat it with use of the new ES6 class. So that will be what we take on next. Thank you very much.